I used to train 5 to 6 days a week, and I was actually getting weaker. Sometimes people think that the more you do something, the better you get at it. And that is the case with certain things, but it is not the case with fitness. I figured that if I gave the gym more time, meaning like more days, I would go to the gym, more volume, more intensity, that I would get stronger. But the exact opposite actually happened. My numbers started to go down. So what I did was I made an adjustment. I figured that I needed more time to recover. So what I did was I actually pulled back a little bit and I went to the gym less days, and I started prioritizing recovery just as much as strength training. And that is where my numbers went up across the entire board. And if you're somebody that trains damn near every day and you're stuck, this video is exactly for you. Here is why this matters more than you think. Every week that you overtrain isn't just a week wasted. You are actively breaking your body down and not letting it rebuild properly, which means lost muscle, lost strength, and depending on how long you've been doing this, you are potentially months behind where you should actually be at. And the worst part is that most guys don't even know that that is the issue. They think that, oh man, I'm just not training hard enough. Maybe I need to add an extra day to my training. Maybe I just need to train fucking even more. Like I need more volume. I need more sets, more reps. I just have to do more. That is the issue. And you're just making it worse. You are putting yourself in it's called a recovery deficit. So essentially how I like to explain this is, say this is like my hand right here, imaginary line. This is your baseline of fitness. Like this is where your strength and everything is at. When you exercise, you're breaking your muscles down so that they can rebuild stronger. If you recover properly, that new baseline is actually going to increase where it was before, right? So essentially what that looks like is, here's your baseline, you exercise, goes down, recovers, now it's higher. Exercise goes down, you recover, goes higher. And with every exercise and as you recover, your baseline of strength goes higher. That's how you get stronger, right? Now what happens when people are in a recovery deficit is they're never actually passing that baseline. Here is the baseline, right? Now you're training, your muscles break down, and then as they're trying to recover, you keep training. You're not eating properly. You're not getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, right? And you are never actually getting past that fucking training baseline, that threshold. Therefore, you are in a recovery deficit. You're not letting your body rebuild the muscle that it really wants to rebuild. And look, man, I'm honestly talking specifically to the dudes in the military or military veterans, or if you never even served in the military, but you're one of those guys that was kind of brought up, maybe you had a dad that was a hard ass that brought you up telling you that, oh, you just push through the pain, just push through it, right? And the reason why I say military is because obviously I had that experience, and what we learned was like, dude, oh, you feel soreness, push through it. You feel fatigue, push through it. I remember when I was doing this 20K hike, I ate shit and it was down a hill, and dude, I hit my knee so hard. It cut through my camis all the way down to my knee, and my knee was bleeding. Like, and I know there's way worse injuries. I'm not trying to sound like oh my God, I've been through it. Like, I'm just saying that like I ate shit during that hike, and the fucking pack, I don't even know, it was like 80 to 100 pounds. And all that weight on my knee, I was like, damn, boom, fell down. Luckily, somebody helped me up. They weren't supposed to though. When you fall down on a hike, when it's a graded hike, because I was doing, this was during ITB. So it's a requirement. You got to pass these hikes within a certain amount of time or some shit like that. And I remember falling down, and you're not allowed to have anybody else help you get up. And somebody did help me up though. And then the instructor just didn't say anything. So he was pretty chill about that. But I was grateful. I thanked him. I was like, bro, thank you. Like, fuck yeah. Like, that shit hurt like a bitch. But I got up, and it made me fearful. Like, oh man, dude, my knee hurts so bad right now, but I know that I do not want to fail. So I continue to push through. And now my body isn't the best, but hey, I could say I passed. Hey, I made it. I'm a Marine, right? And that's just where that culture starts, man. At least for us dudes in the military. I think for other dudes who haven't joined the military, or even dudes who are in the military, like, cause like I didn't see my dad too much growing up, but when I was around him, he did have that hard ass mentality. So you don't need to be in the military to really fully understand that. But when you join the military, it's like you potentially had that as your childhood, that mentality. And then you join the military where it's like literally your job to do that. Basically your job to do that, right? So that's who I'm mostly talking to in this video. PT every single morning, 0545, no days off, pain is weakness, leaving the body, you know the fucking deal, man. And in that environment, that's probably the right call, because it's like there's Marine Corps orders. Like, you literally have to train for a specific amount of time. But sometimes that shit gets overdone because you just have this shitty leadership that wants to train you every single day for over an hour, and it's nothing but running in fucking boots with weight on your back, and that's how your back and knees and ankles and pretty much everything get destroyed. So yeah, the training style is not something I would ever recommend to any civilian. When I got out, I started training for actual like muscle growth and performance, which is pretty hard to do in the military, depending on your job. I know some people spend less time in the field than others, so you know, it's usually the admin dudes, not to talk too much shit, but, you know, in that environment where it's like, okay, we have to PT every morning, you know, the staff sergeant or fucking gunny are like, hey guys, like, you're gonna get out there, you're gonna fucking do it, you know, all this shit, whatever. And in that environment, obviously you have to abide by that, and it's probably the right call. But once you get out, man, you can actually start training for performance and actually gaining some damn strength and actually recovering from all the training that you're doing, because it's very hard to do it when you're active duty. And that's something that can be pretty negative, because when you take that mentality of just push through it, just push through the fatigue, I'll show up every single day, that becomes pretty much all you know, or that just becomes like front of mind, right? That's the first thing that you think of when you think of training, is that you have to overtrain. And if you don't feel overtrained, then you're not training properly. And that's where a lot of dudes, especially younger dudes, can be pretty naive and just impressionable, right? A lot of young dudes join the military and they're like all like just ready to get after, you know? They see all those really cool ads, the Marine Corps or Army ads, whatever, the commercials, and they're like, oh dude, this is how it is, I got to do this every day. And now that's like a lifestyle that they adopt, and it ends up biting them in the ass, dude, in the long term, because that's not how good training is actually supposed to be. So here's the thing that most people don't understand about how muscle growth actually works. Your muscles are not built in the gym. In the gym, you are simply breaking down your muscle tissue. And then during sleep, and if you eat enough protein, your muscles repair themselves and they grow back stronger. Your muscles don't grow stronger in the gym. You break them down in the gym, and then what you do after the gym is what gets those muscles to build back even fucking stronger to how you want it. So if you are actually serious about putting on some serious fucking muscle mass, then you need to start taking your recovery just as serious as the gym, man. You cannot be showing up to the gym every single day with this insane amount of volume and intensity, and then not have your nutrition locked in, and then only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night, and then expecting these awesome results. That is not how it works. If you are 100% committed, you will understand that, and you will follow it and abide by it. And before you say, oh, I know a guy that trains every single day and he's fucking jacked. Well, guess what, man? He's probably been training for years and years, and his body is fully adapted to it, and or he's probably on some type of enhancement that allows him to recover that quickly, because enhancements do that. And we're not worried about that guy right now. That's not who we're talking about. What we're talking about are people, just normal people that are not on enhancements, who are overtraining and are not seeing results. That is who we're talking to. So keep watching. Overtraining syndrome is an actual thing with actual symptoms. Some of those symptoms being you are always tired, even after a full good night's rest. Or you're always sore, no matter what. Or your lifts are now flat. Like, you're not increasing, you're not getting stronger, or they're actually slightly going down. Or another one is going to be your immune system is going to take a hit. So what that looks like is you're getting sick more often. And then next thing you know, all of this snowballs into you no longer having motivation to actually go to the gym anymore. Does that sound familiar? And by the way, that's not a mental weakness issue, a mental weakness problem. That is your body telling you, it's letting you know that it's in breakdown mode. Like, hey bro, like, we can't keep up with all this overtraining intensity volume that you're putting it through. And as a result, your cortisol levels rise. So for example, high cortisol, elevated cortisol is bad because it'll break down your muscle. High cortisol literally breaks down muscle tissue. So with that being said, when you are overtraining and not allowing yourself to recover, you're actually breaking down muscle tissue, which is actually working against the goal that you're actually shooting for. All you need is 3 to 4 days of real structured training, not just random bullshit. 3 to 4 days, not fucking 5, 6, or 7. 3 to 4 is the sweet spot. But you need actual intent behind what you're doing. So what that means is actually having proper progressive overload. in order to have proper progressive overload, you have to be tracking the weight that you are moving so that you know how much weight you are going to attempt to move in the next session. Or you should know your rep ranges as well. So let's say like, oh, my rep range is 8 to 12. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep moving the same amount of weight until I finally eventually get up to 12, right? And then once you get up to 12 for all of your sets, you're going to increase the weight to a weight that gets you at the lower end of the rep ranges, so 8, right? And then you keep doing that same amount of weight, just trying to push up the reps, get them up to 12. Once you reach 12, increase the weight again. That puts you back down to the lower end of the rep range. That is proper progressive overload. Okay, so there are very specific things. You need to train with intent. Also training with proper intensity. So not lifting weight. Like just because you can bench 225 for, let's say, 1 or even 2 reps, does not mean that you should be doing that every single time you bench press. That is actually not effective at all. You need to hit a specific rep range. In my opinion, the lowest rep range you should really go, if you know, for working sets, is going to be 4 to 6 reps. Anything lower than that is just not efficient enough. It's not efficient. You're not hitting it the right way. And on the other days that you're not strength training, that is recovery. And it is just as important as the fucking days that you are in the gym, okay? What do they consist of? First of all, make sure you're drinking a bunch of water, all right? But I will say this, a lot of people kind of overshoot it and they think that clear pee means that, oh, I'm well hydrated. You're actually dehydrating yourself by drinking a shit ton of water and pissing clear. Your pee should just have a light tint of yellow. That's it. If it's any clearer than that, then you are overhydrating yourself. And what it also consists of is walking. So I always tell my clients 7 to 10,000, at least 10, I try to get them to 10,000. If they're completely sedentary and not really moving at all, then I'll start with the lower number so it's not as overwhelming, but getting some walking in, because movement equals blood flow equals recovery, right? So you're going to want to still get some movement in even on rest days. So rest days, I call them active recovery days, but people know it as rest days. Basically, why I call them active recovery days is because it's not a day where you just sit on your ass and watch Netflix all day. You still should get some movement in. Also, this is your time now to prep some awesome fucking meals. A lot of people have a hard time finding time to meal prep. And that just doesn't make any sense to me. You're making time for the gym. You can meal prep in that same amount of time or even quicker, actually. So if you're going from 5 to even 6 days a week going to the gym, if you're cutting back to 3 to 4, you 100% have time because your schedule before was built around 6 fucking days. So now you're just replacing that extra gym time with fucking proper nutrition. All this to say that this is the shift that you need to make mentally. Stop thinking about recovery as like a break from training, because recovery is the fucking training. Again, going to the gym and training is just muscle stimulus. It is just breaking down your muscle tissue. Congratulations, you didn't get stronger. What makes them stronger is what happens after the gym. Your recovery, your nutrition, okay? You need to be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You need to be eating a fuck ton of protein, and you need to get movement in even on your rest days, or active recovery days, as I like to call them. Guys who are making the best long-term progress, the most badass progress, the most awesome aesthetic physiques are not guys that are training more days than not. They are the guys that are going to the gym with a good structured plan built around specific volume and intensity 3 to 4 times a week, and who are taking their recovery very seriously. So for me personally, I only go to the gym 3 times a week. It used to, so when I first started my transformation journey, I was going to the gym about 3 times a week. And then once I started getting towards like the back end of my journey, like once I actually started having a little bit of some ab reveal, like my abs were starting to get revealed, I increased it to 4 times a week, just because I was trying out this new training split that I was going for, an upper and lower split while doing conditioning as well. It was just an experiment, but I was during my fat loss phase, and I made sure to keep the training and intensity correct, and I made sure to still eat properly and still get plenty of rest. And that's why I was able to make the transformation that I made while only going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. It's because I was doing enough of the right shit outside of the fucking gym. Train hard, recover harder, and be consistent for fucking months, even years, man. That is where you're going to make this insane transformation that a lot of people don't think that they can make. It's because they're overcomplicating this shit. They think that they need to burn themselves out, dude. Going to the gym 5 to 6 days a week is absolutely ridiculous and completely unnecessary. Unless you're on some fucking drugs, dude. Unless you're like on some type of steroid or something that is allowing your body to recover that quickly. Nobody's got, like, you don't got the time for that shit, man. We all got like families. We all got money to make. We all got bills to pay. We all got all these other responsibilities to handle. We don't got time to be prioritizing fucking steroids and going to the gym every single day, man. That's just not how real life works. If this hit for you and you realize your recovery's been trash, back off to about 3 to 4 days a week. Actually track, to do proper progressive overload and track your progress from week to week. I guarantee you're going to actually start seeing some progress. And I would actually like to hear about it. Drop it in the comments or follow me on Instagram and send me a DM. My link to my Instagram is in the description. Just click on that. It'll take you right over and let me know, dude. I love to hear these stories. I have people messaging me all the time. I have people that send me photos of the food they're eating, stuff, and they're not even clients. They're just people that follow me. And I love getting back to them. I'll even share it on my story and stuff. Like, I just love that. That's like the culture of what I like to do. That's like the culture of Ace Performance. It's just spreading awareness and everybody basically getting better together. That's exactly how I see Ace Performance. You don't even need to be a client of mine, man. We could still have conversations. I do it all the time. People send me, screenshots, or I've had people send me their physique. Like, oh, dude, I used to weigh this much and now I weigh this much. And I'm like, dude, that's freaking awesome, And they're not my client, but it's still conversations that I love to have with people. I love this shit. This is what I do. Like, why would I not want to talk about it? Like, this is all I do, literally. And I love it, man. If you want a training program that is built specifically for you, built around your work schedule, built around the equipment that you have access to, a nutrition plan that is based off of the foods that you already eat and enjoy, then just hit me up on Instagram. The link is in the description. I also have a link to my system in the description. It's labeled under free training. That video basically breaks down my entire system in a nutshell. And there's a link in that description to where you can actually book a call with me and we can have a conversation. But if you're not ready for a call, that's fine. Just send me a DM on Instagram and we'll have a conversation there and I'll clarify whatever you need me to clarify. And if you watch this entire video, I appreciate you being here and I'll catch you in the next one.